So I personally thought that nothing could get worse than the Barbie Oscars discourse of late 2023, early 2024. But now I think that we're not even prepared for what's coming. Last year was widely regarded as like the year that revitalized modern day cinema. Of course, we had Barbie and Oppenheimer, but we also had a ton of other really great movies to talk about. Killers of the Flower Moon, The Holdovers, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Asteroid City, The Boy and the Heron, Poor Things. It felt like every week we all had a movie that we could just kind of sit back and talk about and discuss online. And this year hasn't felt like that quite as much. I mean, we had a couple big hits like Challengers and Dune, thank you Zendaya. Although I will say that some of the stuff that's going to be in Oscar contention this year is still playing out in like the major festival circuit right now, and a lot of that stuff is going to get like later releases in the fall and winter, typically in accordance with, you know, the upcoming Oscar season. And there are still a few blockbusters and sequels that we have yet to see as of me recording this video. It feels like when it comes to next year's award season, it's pretty wide open right now. There's no clear lock for anything like Oppenheimer was. And because of that, I feel like a lot of people are putting a lot of focus on some of those bigger projects that are coming out that have a lot of star power attached to them. And it's already getting out of hand. Okay, so this is normally the part where I throw some tweets up on the screen to illustrate what I'm talking about, and I usually do the little text-to-speech voice to read them. But you guys have told me that you hate the text-to-speech voice, and I have learned and I have listened from your feedback. So today I decided that my podcast co-host Derek and I are going to just voice act the tweets instead.
Ariana Grande's got Grammys, Lady Gaga's got Oscars, and Selena Gomez, still no wins 16 years later.
Wicked will push Ariana Grande for Best Supporting Actress and Cynthia Erivo for Best Lead Actress during award season. Why is she supporting and not lead?
Once Wicked is out, Ariana will be halfway done with her EGOT. She got the Grammy and the Oscar, we just need a Tony and an Emmy next. Y'all can keep the little VMA award though.
Okay, so you might have seen this post floating around that 3 major actresses are potentially going to be involved in awards contention this year. Lady Gaga is going to be starring as Harley Quinn alongside Joaquin Phoenix in Joker 2, Ariana Grande will be playing Glinda the Good Witch in Wicked Part 1, and Selena Gomez is starring in a film called Emilia Pérez, which I believe is getting distribution on Netflix. In that film, she's playing a character called Jessie Del Monte, and she actually just won Best Actress at the Cannes Film Festival for this year. So these are 3 women who all have very large and passionate fan bases, and for all 3 women, a lot of those fans likely started becoming fans due to their music careers. Of course, each one of them has already done acting in some capacity, but none of them have been really known for their dominance in the prestige film world. Lady Gaga has obviously gotten closer than the other 2. She won an Oscar for Best Song at one point, and she did get nominated for Best Actress in 2019 for her portrayal of the character Ally in A Star is Born. She was really going for another nomination in 2022 when she starred in The House of Gucci, which notoriously got shut out from the Oscars pretty much entirely that year, except for makeup. Okay, so if you haven't already guessed, today we're going to talk about my predictions for these 3 performances, why I think parts of Stan Twitter are overestimating the impact that they're ultimately going to have in the 2025 Oscars race, and we're already talking about Lady Gaga, so I'm just gonna start with her. So, I will probably make a separate video about this, but I do not like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. I did not like it when it came out, I do not like it now, I think the entire concept of it is incredibly pretentious. As a huge fan of Batman and most Batman-centric media, I think shying away from the inherent campiness of the comic book material is a waste of everyone's time, and I think that they only made the title of the movie Joker and shoehorned references to the Batman canon in it because I don't think it would have gotten made otherwise. That's my hot take for the day. We can elaborate on it later when Joker 2 actually comes out, but you can imagine my surprise when I learned that Lady Gaga would be starring alongside Joaquin Phoenix in Joker 2. I figured Joker was going to be getting a sequel because I remember how, culturally impactful and talked about it was back in 2019 when it came out, but I did not imagine in a million years, as a Lady Gaga stan, that Lady Gaga would sign on to a project like this, and that she would be playing a new universe version of Harley Quinn in what seems to be a jukebox musical. Todd Phillips, I can assure you, you are not seeing heaven. Now, I feel like the narrative for Lady Gaga here is the most low stakes out of all of them because she technically does have an Oscar. It's very clear that she wants one for acting in addition to having having one for music, which is totally fine. But you can tell that she wants to brand herself as a serious actress. I think her foray into that world, starring alongside Bradley Cooper in A Star is Born, was a great first choice. I think her role in House of Gucci was obviously not a great choice. And if you asked me a couple years ago, I'd say that there's no way in hell that Lady Gaga is getting nominated for her performance in Joker, but obviously Joaquin Phoenix won for the original Joker film back in 2020, whenever that Oscar ceremony was held. So like, anything is possible, and we do have a basis to compare it to. And you know, this film is technically a musical, so she does have that edge, and she has the ability to showcase that side of her talent, which definitely did help her with A Star is Born. But I don't know, man, and excuse the pun I'm about to make here, I just feel like getting nominated for Joker 2 while playing some interpretation of the classic comic book character Harley Quinn is just so incredibly unserious, and I feel like people aren't treating it that way. One, because, you know, a lot of people adore Lady Gaga and they want to see her win at all cost, which, you know, valid. But two, Joker as a franchise consistently just avoids the, you know, big unstoppable blockbuster comic book movie critique, even though that's what it is and that's how it's going to perform at the box office. And so therefore the Academy kind of takes it more seriously. But yeah, I'm truly 50-50 on this one. I don't think she's going to get nominated. I've seen crazier happen, and honestly the Gaga stans are being the most respectful out of the three camps here. Okay, I know that the Ariana people already hate me, I know that the Wicked people already hate me, but I just need you to hear me when I say, and I want you to like temper your expectations accordingly, right? Ariana Grande is not going to get an Oscar nomination for Wicked, and it has nothing to do with the quality of her performance. I'm sure her performance is going to be lovely. It's going to represent the original character to a T. I'm sure it's going to be great for what it is, but because of the kind of movie that Wicked is, she's not going to get nominated. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. That's all I'm asking. Alright, so this week it was revealed that the folks who made Wicked are submitting Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande for awards this year. That's not really a surprise to me. Pretty much every movie will do that preemptively regardless of its reception, because, you know, if you have the chance and the money to get nominated for an award, why would you not submit? And I'll address the first controversy here, and then we'll get into like Wicked as a movie and why I don't think it's gonna do well in award season. But technically the first controversy here was the fact that Cynthia Erivo was getting submitted for lead actress, whereas Ariana Grande was getting submitted for supporting. And this makes logistical sense for a lot of reasons. One, it is very rare that two actresses going up for the same film will get a nomination in the same category. Two, Elphaba is the main character of the musical. And I get why people don't consider it that way, because back when Wicked premiered on Broadway, Kristen Chenoweth campaigned for both roles to essentially get treated equally. She and Idina Menzel both competed in the Best Actress category at the Tonys that year, and Idina ended up winning. But like, having seen the musical 3 times at this point on Broadway, I can assure you that Elphaba is the protagonist of the musical. She is. Glinda, obviously a role as equal in terms of the emotional core of the story, sure, but for the most part, it is a comedic relief role. And I'm not saying that Ariana Grande is not going to do a great job. I think she is cast very well. I think Cynthia Erivo is also cast very well. Both of them could obviously sing, and that is the main requirement for a movie adaptation of Wicked. But here's the thing. Wicked is a family holiday blockbuster. It is being made with a mass audience in mind. There's nothing super personal or intimate about the storytelling here from what I've seen, or how it's being portrayed visually from what I've seen. Even if the performances are solid, which I bet they will be, I think the film is going to just inherently lack this grounded aspect, this realistic emotional core that is typically needed for films to do well at the Oscars. The best example that I could compare Wicked to was Barbie last year, because that did get honestly a lot more Oscar noms than I thought it was going to. But Barbie also had more personality and emotion and uniqueness than I thought it was going to. It's also a part 1, which logistically makes it a little bit more difficult to get acting noms. I can compare this to Dune in 2021, which got a whole bunch of nominations, none of them for acting. Look, I have gone up against the Wicked movie truthers for the better part of a year now. I still do not think this movie is going to be like, you know, Oscar quality. I think it's going to be great popcorn fun and a fun time will be had by all. I think it's going to be messy and a little bit camp, and that's totally fine. What I don't understand though is some Ariana Grande stans and their incessant need to validate the legitimacy and seriousness of this movie. There are so many people online freaking out about how she's going to get submitted for supporting. Babe, she's not getting nominated. I'm sorry. If we fast forward to a couple months from now and Ariana Grande gets nominated for Wicked, whichever one of you runs back here to the comment section of this video to tell me that I'm wrong, whichever Ariana Grande stan does it first, I will send you money for an Ariana t-shirt. I will buy you one. That's how confident I am that it's not happening, and obviously I can always get proven wrong. I have been proven wrong on this channel before, and I have admitted so when it's happened. But I feel like so much discourse surrounding this movie has been so mean-spirited and toxic, and it's like, why? Why can't we just have a fun time? Why can't this just be like a silly, goofy blockbuster? Why does it have to be the career-defining performance for everyone involved? And maybe I would feel differently if it seemed like this movie had some kind of bold, creative vision, but to me it just looks like the equivalent of a Disney live-action remake. I'm gonna hold it in the same regard until I get proven differently. Okay, last performance that we're going to talk about before we discuss how and why stan culture is ruining all other aspects of pop culture in this world and in this life. Selena Gomez. Like I said, Selena is getting a lot of buzz for her role in the film Emilia Pérez, which I don't know too much about. People seem to really like it after it premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, and like I said, Selena actually won Best Actress at Cannes for her role in this film. And out of the three women I've talked about in this video, I feel like Selena has gotten the most backlash collectively after that announcement that they were all going to be submitted for supporting. And I know why. It's because Selena is, I think, probably the most polarizing figure out of the three of them. I have a whole video on this. If you haven't seen it already, I'm gonna assume that you have. I feel like Selena's reputation with online communities in particular is so fickle because right now it seems like everyone seems to be like digging her. It's been a while since she's gotten into a social media controversy. The worst thing I ever see people say about her nowadays is, you know, first of all, that she can't sing, which has been a criticism of her for a long time, and it's one that I happen to agree with. I don't think she's the best vocalist out there. And two, that her fiance is ugly, which, like, what the fuck ever, who cares? But out of everyone, I think she technically has the best chance of actually getting nominated for a supporting actress slot in the Oscars race this year. Do I think she's gonna win? I think that's way too early to tell, but like, getting, you know, a Best Actress award at Cannes is kind of a big deal, and this is like the start of, like, you know, the Oscars conversation is what pulls well and does well at certain big film festivals. I guess I have to see what else is in play to make a definitive prediction as to whether or not I think she'll get a nomination. I'm just saying that of the three, I think she has the best chance. And so it's weird that I've seen the most vitriol thrown her way in most online conversations. Although I will say I feel like that is frequently the case with Selena Gomez in general, just because, like I said, she has been a polarizing figure in pop culture for so long. But this brings me to my final point. Bitchy stan culture bullshit has no place in conversations about award season. Okay, so I have a theory as to why these conversations, whenever, like, you know, big kind of pop musicians carry over into, like, other conversations about pop culture, like, why this gets so vitriolic and so crazy. And it's because, you know, when these women, like Ariana Grande and Lady Gaga, and to some extent Selena Gomez, were sort of coming up, you know, in the early 2010s, they had fan bases of primarily, you know, young women and gay men. And, you know, at that time, it was more acceptable in the zeitgeist to just completely shit on everything that those groups of people liked and enjoyed. And so now that these actresses and musicians are all kind of like being taken more seriously, not only do, you know, they want to root for their idols to be taken more seriously, but they themselves also want to be vindicated for standing them back then when no one else did. And that's all fine and good, except a lot of these people take it way too far, and they get very hateful toward, like, you know, these other women, or like fans of these other women, and it just gets like a little psychotic, and it gets to be a little too much. But that's just a theory. a game theory. And obviously I don't want to paint everyone in these online communities with a broad brush, but I'm not gonna lie, some of you guys are just shitty people. These films obviously are not even out yet, and yet a lot of these people feel the need to ruthlessly defend their faves and tear down other people, and because there's no content to even base this off of yet, a lot of the vitriol that I've been seeing is directed toward these women's appearances. And I get it's because you have no power in your real lives, and it feels good to play the bully online where no one can see you. But for all of us adults who want to engage with pop culture in a more critical and mature context, it genuinely is annoying as fuck. And it's going to get worse when some of these women inevitably don't get nominated for Oscars, and we have to hear god-awful piss-poor takes for 5 weeks straight about how the Academy is misogynistic, while performances from the women who did get nominated are ignored and cast aside in favor of bread and circus stan culture bullshit. And as much as I adore Barbie as a film, and I'm happy it got its flowers in terms of critical and commercial praise, I really think it set the bar for how much more annoying Oscars discourse is going to get in the coming years, because now people are gonna think like, oh, blockbuster that made a lot of money that everyone saw, that I saw, that must mean Oscar nomination? And like, no, that has just never been how it works. Ever. And not that I'm like necessarily championing for gatekeeping and for films to be inaccessible, that's not really what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that different films, you know, have different utilities in the pop culture conversation, and being a fun, mass appeal, family-friendly blockbuster is sometimes just all a movie has to be. It doesn't have to be like critically rewarded just because you like somebody in it. And I wish that there was space for that nuance. But it could always be worse, because God help us when Taylor Swift finally directs a film. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. A reminder that you can connect with me at all of the social media listed in this beautiful link tree, which can be found in the description down below. You should also head on over to my second channel, Kayla Says More, because I just posted a vlog about me and my boyfriend Brian's trip to Chicago, and it's super fun, and I think super informative, and I think you'll like how it came out. So thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.